Hello everybody, Silverpicker here, and today I want to talk about an interesting investment opportunity that was brought to my attention that I want to share with you guys, and if you're a silver stacker or gold bug, well, you might just want to take some notes. Specifically, we're going to be talking about a really cool company called Gold Mining Inc. that's listed on the New York Stock Exchange under ticker GLDG. Now, before we get into the deep dive of this really cool company, some important disclaimers. 1. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video should be construed as financial advice. I am but a humble YouTuber that is obsessed with precious metals that wants to share with you some interesting information about a really cool company. 2. I, nor anyone in my family, do not own any GLDG stock. It's important for me to note that because it means that I do not stand to benefit financially from the rise or fall of this stock, so whether you purchase this stock or not has no financial bearing on me or anyone in my family. And finally, number 3, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Gold Mining Inc. itself. So now that we have all of those disclosures out of the way, let's get to it and talk about Gold Mining Inc. So first off, what is Gold Mining Inc.? Well, Gold Mining Inc. is a really innovative mineral exploration company with over a dozen projects across gold, copper, and even uranium all across the Americas. And how did it all start? Well, actually, the founder, Amir Adnani, had a really clever and creative strategy when he founded the company. So during the gold bear market, he quietly went around and bought up all of these different projects for pennies on the dollar. In fact, according to some of the GLDG presentations, he was able to purchase some of these gold mining projects for as little as 10 cents on the dollar. That's like if you or I were to buy an ounce of gold, which today's spot price is about $2,000, for $200 an ounce. Now, I know a lot of my audience is very new to the world of personal finance and investing in the stock market, and you may be sitting there scratching your head saying, wait a minute, something doesn't make sense. If this company has millions and millions of dollars worth of gold reserves that they bought for pennies on the dollar, what do they need my money for their stock? Well, it is very expensive to actually extract minerals out of the ground. Think about it. You need to hire miners. You need to have transportation and logistics. You need to bring in heavy machinery and equipment. You need to have supplies. You also need to have a way to transport all of that gold and refine it and get it back to civilization where it can be made into bars and jewelry and what have you, right? All of that has a lot of upfront costs. And essentially, companies like this one raise money by offering stocks, essentially a small piece of ownership or equity in the company, and in exchange for your investment, if the stock does well, meaning if the company does well, you are rewarded for that risk that you're taking on by a rise in the stock price or even in some cases receiving dividends. So essentially, investors in GLDG are betting on whether or not the company can effectively and efficiently extract these minerals from the ground and turn a profit. But there's also sort of like a hidden or not so hidden bonus way that shareholders can increase the ROI on their investment, and that is with the increase in the price of gold. So right now, we all know about all the calamities going on across the world, whether it's the wars in Ukraine and Israel or the social unrest in the US and Europe. There's a lot of instability, and generally during times of instability, gold prices rise. And what's really interesting is if you look right now at the comparison of the spot price of gold to GLDG's past performance, well, you can see that even a small increase in the spot price of gold actually increases GLDG's share price by a lot more. I mean, look, in 2013, when the spot price of gold went up just over 10%, we had a 150% increase in the value of GLDG stock. That is absolutely wild. So essentially, if past performance is any indication, well, if the price of gold rises, it'll be a really nice feather in the cap for all of GLDG's investors. But it's important to note that neither you, nor I, nor Gold Mining Inc. can influence the price of gold on its own. So it's really critical to take a look at what can Gold Mining Inc. actually influence on its own. Well, that is, of course, their expertise on their core business, which includes picking the right projects, paying the right price for their projects, and most importantly, executing on those projects with operational and financial excellence and efficiency. And Gold Mining Inc. has already had some pretty great successes, so actually let the CEO of the company share with you one of those recent successes that is really impressive.
The asset that we found a partner for recently was one of the smallest assets within our portfolio. It was the Almaden project. It accounts for about 3% of our global resource base. It was a project we'd acquired just about 2 years ago. We paid just over $1 million for it, and we daylighted value of some $16.5 million when we made this announcement in July. It's a great win for us. It showed a good, strong return on our investment. We formed a new partnership with NevGold, who are exploring nearby in Nevada. They can add this to their portfolio of drilling assets, and gold mining stands to benefit from future success they have with exploration by being their largest shareholder going forward. So an exceptional value creation for us, a good model to build on as we look for additional partners on some of our other assets.
Yeah, so a 16x return on a $1 million investment, that's a cool $15 million profit, and that's considered one of their smaller projects, so it's really, really exciting. So now you know what Gold Mining Inc. does, you know its strategy, you know about some of the macroeconomic risks and opportunities, you know about its recent past successes, and you've got a lot of information. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with a couple of important numbers that will help frame this so you can decide on your own whether or not this is the right investment for you. Most of you watching this video, and especially my OG fans, shout out to all my OG fans and all my Patreon patrons, most of you are big proponents of investing in physical precious metals. That's gold and silver, physical gold and silver bullion that you can hold in your hands. And I am also. I've got a nice gold stack that I ain't planning on selling for anything. And of course, I am not here to dissuade you from buying physical precious metals. This is not instead of investing in physical precious metals. This is in addition to. There are different purposes for different types of investments in your portfolio. I personally buy gold and silver because I want it as a hedge against inflation. Essentially, a place to park what would otherwise be cash that loses value due to inflation, but instead it's in a solid, hard asset like gold. And I also like having gold for those sort of SHTF zombie apocalypse situations that are becoming all the more common in our world. But I also have a sizable stock portfolio as well. And I think that that's really important, and it's a completely different purpose. I have that as part of my retirement fund, and I have some stocks as speculative investments where I am investing hoping that the stock goes up so that I can sell it and harvest some of those profits. Heck, if this stock does well and you invest in it, you could actually take your proceeds from your earnings and buy more physical gold and silver if you so wish. Now, of course, like I said earlier in the video, there are risks like there are with any investment, but we're going to talk about those at the end of the video. But like I said, we're going to focus right now on a little bit of math, a couple of numbers that are pretty encouraging. According to reports cited by Gold Mining Inc., typically in the gold mining industry, reserves of gold in the ground are generally priced at around $30 per ounce. Now, I know that sounds really low, but again, it is very expensive to actually extract those reserves from the ground, both in time, money, and opportunity. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, actually, even with all of those extraction costs, 30 bucks an ounce for something that normally is $2,000 an ounce when it's in your hand still seems like a pretty darn good deal. Well, wait till you hear this. GLDG has an adjusted market cap of $158 million. And across all of the projects that it owns, it has an estimated 32 million ounces of gold in the ground in its reserves. If you divide the market cap, the value of the company, meaning what you would be buying equity into by investing in the company, if you divide the value of the company by the number of ounces it has, that comes out to an average estimated $4.93 per ounce of gold in reserves. $30 industry average, under $5 with GLDG. That implies that GLDG is highly, highly undervalued. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I'm not an extremist and that I'm a pretty conservative investor. You know that even though I have staked my reputation on the internet to be talking about the value of investing in precious metals like gold and silver and coin collecting, etc., I'm not a gold or silver absolutist, and I'm not an extremist that is, like some of these other YouTubers that say, like, you got to put all of your money into gold and silver and that fiat currency isn't real and all that. I don't believe in any of that. I believe that gold and silver are a critical piece of everybody's portfolio and that it's a mistake for most of the world who does not invest in precious metals, but it should just be a part of a balanced portfolio. And most of my portfolio is actually in the stock market. But the reason I say all this is to say that every single investment has risks, and it's important to address those risks. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the risks that an investor would face with investing in GLDG. Like with many businesses, there are two main types of risks that any investor in GLDG would have to contend with, and those are macroeconomic risk and business risk. Macroeconomic risk refers to risk in the general economic state of the world or the country. So in this case, it has to do with the volatility of gold prices, right? So if gold were to tank, right? If the spot price of gold drops really, really low, then it becomes much, much less profitable or even unprofitable to actually pay all of that money to extract the gold from the ground. And that, of course, would make a drop in GLDG's stock price also very likely. When it comes to business risk, well, business risk has to do with the risk that any business has, whether it has to do with cash flow issues, operational issues, or anything else that affects its ability to execute on its mission. And every business that you invest in has those same risks. So that's why it's really important for you to not just take my word for it. Obviously, this is a very exciting and interesting opportunity and a very interesting and exciting company, and that's why I'm talking about it in the first place, but it is incumbent on every single investor to do their own research into the company and make sure that they're comfortable with their view of the company's ability to execute efficiently and effectively on its mission. Anyway, I think that Gold Mining Inc. is a really, really interesting company that whether you decide to invest in it or not, it's definitely worth your time to do a little bit of research and learn more about the company. On that note, I want to say a huge, huge thank you to Gold Mining Inc. for making this video happen, for sponsoring the video, and for supporting the Silver Picker channel in general. Anyway, if you like this video and you like videos about precious metals, personal finance, or coin collecting, well, I make videos like it every single week, so you best hit that big old red subscribe button. And like I always say, while you're down there, throw me a like. It takes you a second and it means the world to me. I've got a lot more awesome stuff coming down the pike, so stay tuned, and until then, Silver Picker out. A huge, huge thank you to all of my wonderful patrons. If you're not yet a patron, join the Patreon, the links are below, and you'll get access to my private Discord group in which all sorts of collectors come together to talk shop, talk coins, and just have a good time.